Good afternoon. First of all, can y'all hear me? Please let me know if you can hear me. First of all, can y'all hear me? Please let me know if you can hear me. Thank you, Scotty. Well, welcome everybody. Sorry for the sudden live stream, but I thought, hey, it's New Year's Eve, so I got nothing going on right now, so might as well do a little live stream. Just to chat with the Fish fam. I'm gonna be leaving soon because we do have guests coming over to celebrate, but I thought, why not? Um, before we go any, okay, I just did, Scotty. Thank you. Um, so let me know throughout the live stream um if the video is going weird, because the last live stream when I was watching the replay, I noticed that it was glitching out a little bit. Um, because I want to have a cool background, and I'm in my basement right now, and the area of the basement I'm in doesn't really get good Wi-Fi for whatever reason, and I'm on my laptop. So I do apologize for that, but do let me know if you can't hear me or if I've frozen or anything like that, like how Scotty's live streams go sometimes. But welcome everybody. Just a casual live stream just to see how everybody's doing, how everybody's enjoying their New Year's Eve. Um, gonna talk a little bit about, what I'm gonna talk a little bit about, what's gonna happen during the New Year's. Maybe talk a little bit about the business, um, and just have a casual chat, just hang out a little bit. Hopefully, it's gonna be an hour. It might go a little bit over an hour. It just depends on how active chat is and things like that. But before we go that, let's do a little bit of welcoming. So hey Scotty, hey Dee Dee, Annette, Mystery Snail Guardians, welcome. Steven, welcome. So that's it so far. Do it for Dee Dee. Scotty, I'm on my laptop. I don't know if I can show all the tanks around, because the main two tanks are right behind me, but then I have this plant rack that I use to hold plants for the store. I mean, maybe I can. So that right there, those are the only two tanks that I have running right now. But it's basically a large rack, and which I got for a very good price on Facebook Marketplace, and it was local. And I was like, you know what, I can use that. So I ended up getting it and kind of modding it a little bit to meet my needs. It's all air driven, and it works fine for me. I remember when I brought these tanks with me to the Keystone Clash, and I actually brought three tanks because I was bringing that many plants, and almost every single person who came to the booth all complimented on the tanks. They were like, "Where do you get those tanks from?" And I was like, they came with the rack, and I was able to do some research on them because there is a tag underneath at least one of the tanks that was readable. And first of all, these are 20-gallon low boy tanks, or shallow tanks, and I did some research on the company. I believe it was called Old Glass Aquariums or something like that. And I did some research, and apparently the company or the business no longer exists. I believe they sold all their stuff to Aqueon, from what I understood, because when I tried clicking on a link to their page, it brought me to Aqueon. So I'm assuming that the company no longer exists and they sold all their stuff to Aqueon. So I tried to go online to see if I can find them anywhere, and I couldn't really find them. Most low boys that are framed that have a frame around them are usually like the larger 120 or something like that frag tanks, which you can set up for saltwater. Or you can find uh like what Dee Dee's mentioning, that she bought a bookshelf 6 gallon for the tissue culture. So it's a lot of those shallow tanks are called bookshelf tanks. So it's a rectangular tank, but it's low in height. But these aren't long. They're, well, if you're looking from the front, they're like deep. But it's a cool tank. I really like them. But yeah. But yes, Scotty, you are a low boy, but you're our low boy, so it's okay. So Scotty got a 20-gallon long and a 10 for free last night, getting my first 40 breeder Thursday. Does that mean you're going to be buying plants for me? Please say yes, because the plants you see in these tanks need forever homes, so I can get more plants in for you guys. So yeah, plus, Scotty, that sounds like you need some more plants. So just let me know when you're ready. Um, hey there, Fish Fan Link. Thank you very much for coming. Um, but yeah, so yeah, those these are basically the tanks, and I also have a fluval, the new fluval beta tank that's upstairs in the dining room, which stay tuned for that because I'm going to be doing a rescape on that. There is a video, I believe, of me setting it up on my channel, and it did okay for a while, and then it was just a battle of blackbeard algae and diatoms, and it's where it's at in the dining room is right next to a window, and even though I keep the shades on to keep the sunlight away, it was getting very difficult to maintain. Nothing wrong with the tank. The tank's really great. And the beta I have in there right now is just living life. It's just ugly. And so I want to do a total rescape. It is going to take a bit because I'm trying to get all the pieces together. I'm trying to find the right wood. I'm probably going to do a spider wood, or I'm going to use spider wood, and then I'm probably going to change some of the rocks that are in there. They're technically not rocks; they're pebbles, but just change it up a bit. I'm basically going to take the beta out, move it somewhere else for a while, and then just tear that tank down, clean it up, and just start it all over again. I'm probably going to not wash or rinse the biological media just so to make sure that the biological filtration is still active so I can move the beta back in as soon as possible. Um, hey Atkins, great to see you, man. Thank you very much for coming. Um, do I have any immersed setups? No, I do not have any immersed setups. Um, I have been thinking of it because so when I get plants in, whether it's from Tropica or wherever else, most plants they come in their immersed growth instead of submerged growth. It's just easier for the nurseries to grow the plants in. Um, but then when you obviously put them in water, they have a transitional phase where the underwater leaves are starting to grow out. And that transition, for me at least, gets pretty dicey. There are certain plants that I get in that do very well in that transition phase. When I start seeing a leaf starting to die out and I'm starting to see better growth, like newer growth, I'll immediately cut it off. But when you have like over 50 plus plants and it's just one of you, and they're in a tank very compact together, it can be very hard for me to manage that. And so I have lost plants that way. Not necessarily at the beginning, but if I've been having the plants sitting in these tanks for a longer period of time, they just, for whatever reason, some of the species just don't do well. Um, and so I've been thinking of trying out an immersed setup, whereas when I get the plants in, I just put them in a little bit of water, mainly the pot portion, just keep that submerged. And then if I do start seeing newer growth, I would then just trim off the older leaves and see how that does. That's an experiment that I'm willing to do. Right now, I don't have the willpower, if you will, to try it, but you never know. I might do that. Um, and but yeah, so Scotty is asking, isn't that what plant sellers do? So it depends. Most of the plants that you get from your local aquarium store or even online. So like for example, Buse Plants, which is actually an online store that I when I was in earlier in my hobby, I would get plants from. They all keep their plants submerged because at the end of the day they're going into an aquarium, right? You're not going to put them in a terrarium or a high humidity vivarium or a paludarium. They're going into an aquarium, so you want the plants to starting to transition to their aquatic phase. That's what I do is when I get plants in, I keep them for a while, and in hopes that by the time they start selling, they will already be on um, their submerged phase. Doesn't always happen, but the key thing with me is to make sure the plants get to where they need to go and get into substrate. You don't want to keep plants in their pots with the rock wool long term because they're not getting the best nutrients they need to get versus them being in a substrate, Scotty. Um, so yeah, Atkins is saying adding a little CO2 helps new plants convert faster to aquariums, at least in my experience. Atkins, you are correct. And I do have a CO2 canister. It's a nano, like the paintball canister with the F zone regulator for paintball CO2 canisters. I had it on my Dennerley Shrimp King cube that I had here before, and I hooked it up to that, and it did very well. So that's another thing I have been looking into is maybe just adding CO2 to it. Um, the problem is I've got like multiple tanks, so I have to figure out a way to um to hook that up. Another thing is you do have to understand is like if I hook up CO2 to this system, the plants are going to be used to getting CO2 injection. Not all tanks that these plants are going to go into will have CO2, and not always, but um the plants do get very picky with that, especially cryptocorynes. Cryptocorynes are very sensitive to water parameters and changing of environments in general. Like for example, the crypts I have behind me, the crypt undulatus red. I was thinking of because I was talking to Scotty before to take some out and just grow them out, um, to sell later on or to donate or whatever. And I was thinking, I was like, wait a minute, this is a tank that's well established. It's been running for years, and it's in substrate, and it's heated. And if I move them to a temporary holding system that's not heated, um, to where ideally the plants would want to be. They're still okay. It's still a good temperature. Um, I was like, the last thing I want is me moving these crypts to a different system and them dying. So I'm gonna try with one, see how it does, and then I'll move some stuff around and things like that. But yeah, so I have been looking into trying an immerse setup for my inventory, as well as adding CO2. Ideally, I should be adding CO2, especially to plants that I'm getting in that are in the medium to advanced category. But that's the thing is I haven't been ordering medium to advanced category plants, and most of the plants I have been getting in are easy to maintain. And a lot of the issues I've been having is only with stem plants. The epiphytes like the Anubias, the water sprite, the Java ferns, I've had no issues. They're living life happily. Bucephalandra, it's mainly the stem plants, but not all of them. So like the Nymphea species, the lotus and lilies, they've been doing great. I have like one Nymphea stellata, the dwarf aquarium lily. I have one pot of that, and the Bacopa caroliniana, I have two pots of that, which have been doing well. And interesting enough, Cypress helfari, um, which is a medium category plant, has been doing very well. Those plants I've had since the Keystone Clash, and I've had all five of them. So with Tropica, the minimum order that you can order of each plant is five pots. For the tissue culture, it's three. And I have all five. I didn't really sell them. I think I didn't sell them at the Clash. And so I've had them sitting in this tank, and they've been doing very well. I actually have the Daisy rice fish that I got from Small World Aquatics in that system, and they love going through the cypress and all that stuff. So, um, sorry guys. One of the things that I wanted to focus on in this live stream too is keep up with the comments, because the last live stream that I had, my first live stream that I had with Scotty, I wasn't really keeping up with the comments. Scotty was helping out with that. Um, which by the way, Scotty, I noticed that in the live stream, the first live stream you were with me on that, we were supposed to talk about our experiences, but it was mainly you interviewing me. So next time you're on my live stream, I'm interviewing you. Okay? It's not going to be about me, it's going to be about you. Um, but yeah, so Scotty says, could you use CO2 to increase growth and propagate so you can be more self-sustainable and therefore more profitable? I can. I'm just lazy. I would much rather just, buy plants and you know, purchase them in and get them in. I don't know. It's just I can propagate. It's just a matter of I have to get the pots and get the rock wool and things like that, which I can. And I do have a lot of the pots, sitting right over there from plants I've had to toss out because they've died, or just didn't do too well in my systems. But that was during the earlier stages of Atlantic aquariums. But I've learned a lot more since then, so I've had less plant die off, thankfully. But it is doable. I know, Scotty, you've been pushing me to do that. We'll see how it goes. Maybe it's something that I might push myself to do this year. You never know. Atkins says, that's why I just use a little when getting new plants. It just helps them convert to underwater growth. Once converted, most plants are solid to move around. Yeah, that's the thing with CO2 is like you don't necessarily have to keep CO2 for the duration or the life of the aquascape. CO2 is there to boost the plants, to give them the energy they need, because when they're photosynthesizing, they need CO2. That's how they make their food, their energy to grow. That's why you might see aquascapers. They'll aquascape with like um, you know pearlweed or dwarf baby tears, or plants that we have known to need CO2, right? And you would see aquascapers plant them in a non CO2 tank, and it'll do just fine. But then you keep them in a CO2 tank and they'll do just fine. The difference is how long it takes for the plants to start really growing and filling up the space and things like that. If you put them in a non-CO2 tank, the plants might do perfectly fine. They're just going to take time to grow, versus you putting them in a tank with CO2 injection, and it's going to go crazy right off the bat. And that's what I saw with the Dennerle shrimp tank, because I added CO2 to it. The and I believe I had pearlweed in there. I didn't have the dwarf baby tears, because dwarf baby tears are more advanced category. Pearlweed is a little more intermediate, excuse me. And so and when I added CO2 to that tank, right off the bat, it did very well. It actually did a bit too well to the point where I just could not keep up with the carpet of pearlweed, and but I just let it grow out. I had black rose shrimp in there, and they were just going crazy until I was visiting overseas and got the call from my aunt that all my shrimp died, and I just got done with that tank, so I took it down. Um, but yeah, so hey there, Mexicali, how you doing? Thank you very much for coming. Um, are you referring to me, Scotty? Because that is a lie. I care about you. I think I'm one of the very few people who do care about you. All right. So don't be spewing out lies here, man. Come on, I thought we were friends. Um, make yourself rich instead of Tropica. The goal was to get rich off of Tropica. Nah. I mean, you know, I will always stand by Tropica. I love their plants. I've always used Tropica's plants. It's really nice, healthy plant growth. Yeah, the price is high, but you're getting good quality for it, especially with the tissue culture plants, right? It might be a 12.99 for a pot, a cup of the tissue culture, but you're getting like four potted plant worth of plants in that cup. So I think it's worth it, in my opinion. Um, but I do agree the price sucks. But if for my fellow from fish keepers who are also business owners, no, we're not working with very good margins, unfortunately. But that's the struggle with it. My last pink flamingo did what they do best, but I have a new sprout. Didi, did you get? I don't recall, but did you get pink flamingo from me? I think you ordered one from me. I hope it wasn't that one, but that's one of the things that I've noticed with when I'm keeping crips is I'll have crips that'll transition to their aquatic phase, right? And then it'll do great. It'll grow really lusciously, and then right off the bat, it just melts. It'll go away completely. Whether I did a water change or didn't even do a water change, I just let the tank run for a while. It'll just go away. And then I'll start seeing like little tiny leaflets coming back out from the rock wool. And I'm just like, really? Really, you're gonna do that to me? Which I'm currently going through right now, which is why I had to take the crips, or at least I only have like two crips. I had to take them off the website because they ended up melting, and now they're growing back. So I'm trying to wait and see if it'll grow back. Um, but yeah, they're um, they can be a pain in the tuchus. I need a new pink flamingo. I got you, Scotty. Don't worry. And Alternanthera. I am going to be placing an order from Tropica soon, in the coming weeks. So if any of y'all want any plants from Tropica specifically, hit the notify when back in stock button on the website, and that'll let me know what I need to order, and I'll get it in for you if they have it in stock. What's the difference between a vivarium, paludarium, terrarium, etc.? Okay, so vivarium is a terrarium that has organisms in it, like reptiles or frogs or things like that. Even if you have like the decomposers, like the isopods, things like that. Anything that has um, animals and plants, terrestrial, is a vivarium. A terrarium is just plants. Okay, you might have isopods in there as a cleanup crew, but that is a terrarium. A paludarium is a what I would like to call semi-aquatic. So it is half terrarium, half vivarium. Okay, so it has a underwater section and a land section. That's the difference between the three. I mostly specialize in vivariums and paludariums. That's the products I have on my website geared towards. But you can definitely get stuff from Atlantic Aquariums and use them for a terrarium. Yes, Didi, I do have a sense of humor. People think I'm always serious and, articulate and all that stuff, but I've got some jokes. Some might not be funny, some might be funny, but yeah. And yep, Didi, I definitely I know at least you will keep me going with Tropica. At least with the tissue cultures. Okay, it was that one? Okay. Yeah, at least it sprung back. So, there is hope for it. Uh, Pink flamingo in particular is like one of the harder to keep in my experience, harder to keep plants. Um, yeah, it's just a gamble with it. Scotty says, I like Tropica and prices are fine, but if you can do some of your own stuff also, it will help, I'm sure. No, you're definitely right. I agree with you. 100%. It's just a matter of, my laziness. That's the problem. You know, I try not to be a lazy fish keeper, but when you're 27, you have a part-time job, you have a business, and you're going to school, right? And you have your own personal tanks, right? It can be very overwhelming. On top of that, being the only guy in the household to run errands during the week, right? So it can be very very tiring sometimes, but I love my fish. I love my tanks. I love my plants. I love my coral. You know, they keep me going, to be honest with you. So Atkins is asking, do you think the CO2 is directly boosting plants, or is it the CO2 affecting carbonates by lowering it, which in turn boosts plant growth? So that's a good point. So when it comes to the water chemistry, CO2 plays a big role in that. Um, it lowers carbonates. It makes the water softer. Um, and but to answer your question, Atkins, so CO2, if you look at the chemical makeup of photosynthesis of plants, okay, little biology lesson for all you. But that's the whole point of the channel here. So CO2 is during the morning or during the day. Plants take in CO2, they expel oxygen. At night, they take in oxygen, they expel CO2. Okay. That's why if you're in a very luscious area during the night, people will have breathing problems, and it's because there's more CO2 going into the atmosphere than there is oxygen. Um, but it's still safe. Don't worry, don't panic. But yeah, so CO2 plays a big part in the photosynthesis, in the respiration of plants. Okay, so yes, they are directly boosting the plants. Now, on top of that, when you're injecting CO2 into your aquarium, you're also obviously altering the water chemistry, which can affect your invertebrates. It can affect your livestock and even your plants. Certain plants love and do very well in harder water. Some will do very well in softer water. It just depends on what plant species you're getting and you doing the research of it, really. Um, Most of the plants that I have they do well in neutral. I mean, my water here, I believe, is not hard, but it's up there because I do get mineral deposits on my tanks on like the water line, so it is a little bit hard. But because I have aquarium soil, which can lower pH and things like that, and hardness, it can make the water a little softer. And then when I was also adding CO2 to the shrimp tank, I did bring the water hardness down, but the plants were doing fine. It's just a matter of you not regularly, but occasionally testing your water, just keeping up with your water quality or water chemistry, I should say, um, and just try to not just try to not go all out with CO2. Just regulate it according to what your tank needs. Um, but yeah, so it is directly it is directly affecting the plants directly, and it's boosting them. It is beneficial to the plants. If you're able to get a CO2 system and hook it up to you, I promise you will see a lot of growth. And you can keep it for the long term. You can take it off after a while. It's up to you. I normally, if I am installing a CO2 system, it's going to stay on there for the duration of that aquascape. The crispatulas did fine. That's good. That's really good. Scotty's on the website now. What is Asian spiderwort? Anyone have it? Asian spiderwort. Hmm. Let's go onto the website. Why not? Give me 1 second here. Scotty, what's the scientific name? Something something with a lot of letters. Come on, Scotty. My goal for this year is to make sure you get the scientific names right. All right. So by the time you do your next auction, especially at the Keystone Clash, you'll be confidently saying the scientific names. That's my goal. I have it in stock. Okay, well, let's go and see what we have. So we're at Atlantic Aquariums. By the way, one of the things I wanted to mention with the website is that there's going to be a lot of changes to how it looks in terms of how this menu here looks. So like right now I have like fish and invertebrates, plants and macroalgae, hardscape and aquascaping supplies, equipment and supplies, things like that. I'm gonna do hopefully, and it's gonna be a lengthy process, obviously, but it's gonna be broken down even more. So it's gonna be plants and macroalgae, foods, supplements, hardscape, wood, and botanicals, things like that. That's a little more organized, I want to say, because right now I just don't like how it's organized. Um, and so that's a project that I'm hoping to accomplish soon. All right, so spiderwort. Trying to log in so I can hit the heart thingy for a plant I want. You can do it, Scotty. Um, I have it in stock. Is it? It's probably a potted plant, right? Is it cypress? Right? No, I can't do that. Nope, not that. I know cypress doesn't really have a common name, or at least a common name I found during my studies. That's a problem. Like I'm better with the scientific names than I am with the common names. That's why when Scotty said that common name, I was like, "What are you talking about?" I don't know what that is. Here we go. Okay. Mordania casac. So this is a plant that it's from Tropica. I have it in stock. Actually, I barely sold any of it. So if you guys are interested in it, feel free to add it to your cart. But anyway, um what I have come to understand, it looks very similar to like bamboo. If you look at a lot of these up close pictures, even the ones in the water, it looks very similar to bamboo. Um, but it's a really interesting plant. It is a medium. No, I take that back. It's an easy category plant, so you don't need CO2. You don't need high lighting for it. It is a marsh plant. So, this is a bamboo looking stem plant, which is not a grass. It comes from Asia, where it often grows in rice fields as a marsh plant. Um, and it's very uprighty, if that makes sense. So if you're looking for like a plant to add a little bit of texture to your aquascape, it's not very colorful in terms of like reds or anything. It's usually green, but I think it's a cool plant. I've never kept it. That's why I ordered it. Um, excuse me, just to try it out. but it's doing well for me, kind of. Yeah, no, it's doing well for me, and I have it in stock. I have like 5 pots of it, so if you guys want to try it out, feel free. But but yeah, it's a cool plant. I like how it looks. All right, now I got to go back. Okay, yeah, Atkins, pink flamingo, paint and grow. I know, man. Um, yes, I am 27. I do not like to be reminded that I am 27, yet I remind myself about it. I'm actually going to be turning 28 soon. I turned 28 in February. Um, so I'm going to be 30 in like 2, 3 years. Not, yeah. Don't want to be reminded of it. Scotty, do not underestimate Dee Dee. That's all I'm saying. I thought you were older. I'm 24. Hard to find others our age that like aquariums. You'd be surprised, Atkins. If you remember from the first live stream, I talked about my aquarium club I started at my university. I was surprised at how many there were my age that were into not only into aquariums, they knew the popular aquascapers and things like that. Like they knew who like some of the people knew who George Farmer was. Some of the people who knew Joey Mullen from King of DIY or Aquarium Co-op, or Jen Williams. Like a lot of them knew who these people were. Bob Seamfot, um, and I was blown away because from my understanding, and no offense to everybody here, but whenever I would see like aquarium when I really got into the hobby and I would look up aquarium clubs and societies and things like that, a lot of the people were like obviously older from my age, right? Not a lot of young people going to these club meetings and things like that. And and that was a little bit disheartening, because we need more younger generations in the hobby to keep the hobby going, right? And that's why I like things like the give a kid a tank at the Keystone Clash to get these younger generations into fish keeping, right? And that was my goal with the aquarium club that I started. Was it's like I said, it's the only, from my understanding, it's the only aquarium club in the Northeast, at least, run solely by college students, right? It's open to professors too. It's open to people of all ages, right? But it's mostly obviously a student run organization. Um, but I have started to see more younger people coming, especially to the class. So that's really good, and it's up to us, Atkins, to get more people into the hobby. Hey there, Jeff. Welcome, very much. Welcome. So Meredil, Ian, Usama in the same age range, and all are so advanced. I expect great things from you. Thank you, Didi. It's stuff. It's comments like that that give me the confidence to continue on. I do appreciate it. I try. I try. Uh, yes, Atkins. Latin is fun. Okay. It is very fun. It makes you sound smarter. So, Scotty, even though you're a smart guy, don't worry, you are a smart guy. But, if you can, I promise you, if you can at least one scientific name, um, at least at the Keystone Clash auction, I want you to say at least one scientific name and just blow everybody's minds away that, it can be done. I'm trying to log in so I can hit the heart thingy for a plant I want. You got it. You can do it. What does one do with microalgae? Didi, I think you're referring to macroalgae. So it's basically saltwater plants. Um, if you look up macroalgae aquariums, macroalgae aquascape, saltwater aquascape, you'd be surprised and about how beautiful these aquascapes are. Actually, you know what? Let's take a gander. Why not? Give me 1 second here, guys. But yeah, macroalgae like aquascapes are starting to get very popular actually. Especially like if you're a freshwater aquascaper and you're getting into saltwater, but you miss the plants. Um, a lot of people have been doing that and doing it very beautifully, if I may say so. Okay, let's see if I can share share the screen. How do I change screen? Can I change it? Okay, here we go. Share this tab instead. So what are you guys seeing? Okay, you can see it. Okay. So if you look right here, for example, so all that's all macroalgae. There are some corals in there. I can see a gorgonian right there, but that's all macroalgae. That's live rock or saltwater live rock, right? As your hardscape, and then you've got macroalgae. That I believe is pom pom algae. Um, Atkins, if you can, if you know saltwater algae, if you can correct me on that. But um, but yeah, so it's very beautiful. It's actually something I want to do at some point when I start setting up saltwater is do a macroalgae setup. But it's really great if you want to do like more of a biotope. It's great for seahorses. So if Jenna was here, I would recommend her to do a macroalgae tank. Um, but yeah, and also instead and just not only would you use it as a aquascaping in an aquascaping standpoint, but there's a bunch of macroalgae um, that is actually used in the filtration aspect of it. So in saltwater aquaria, you guys might have seen like some filtration systems. So in a lot of sumps nowadays comes with a chamber that you can put macroalgae in, and it works as a nutrient export. It takes up all the nitrates and things like that to kind of keep the water chemistry in the tank um stable basically. But yeah, so let me stop sharing for a second. Yeah, at least some sci-fi geek changes the Latin names, gets more worked up. Yeah, that's something I was mentioning earlier too. Was like we'll spend all this time trying to learn these scientific names, um, and not even that, but like groups and like the families, the genus, phyla, things like that. And then not even next year, this coming year, it might change, right? A group of fish or a group of animals have been moved to a different phyla, right? Or a scientific name has changed. At least two plants from that's available from Tropica, their names have changed. Um, and I can't think off the top of my head which what they were, but so I had to literally first double check to make sure the names changed, and then I had to go to onto my website and change the names there. Um, and it wasn't even announced. Tropica didn't even announce they changed the names. I was like, hey man, come on, you gotta let us know. Scotty, I don't think Dee Dee has it unless she does, which no, she doesn't. Um, but listing it now, okay. Yeah, Scotty, if you've never kept it, get it and try it out. See how it goes. What's the difference between notify, in stock, and the heart? The heart is like adding to your wish list, right? It's in your favorites. Notify when in stock is if something is out of stock, you hit that notification icon or that button. It notifies me that somebody is interested in knowing when this item is coming back in stock. That's what it is. So if there's a plant that's out of stock and you hit that notification that notify button, it lets me know that okay, somebody's interested in this plant. So when I place my next plant order or order for whatever, it doesn't have to be just for plants, it can be for dry goods too. I know to get that in. Now keep in mind when you do hit that notification button, I will be getting it in. It might take a bit, but I will be getting it in. So please be patient. Don't just go and buy it from somewhere else. If you can't wait, that's totally fine. I get it. But just bear with me, because it might take some time for me to get it in. Um, because it's either I just don't have the funds currently to get it in, or the wholesaler doesn't have it in stock yet. And even when they don't have it in stock, I try to reach out and figure out when it will be getting in stock, and I do let the customer know, um, that when it would be in stock, or hey, just to let you know, this item that you're interested in isn't going to be in stock until this time, but we'll do our best to get it in for you. Things like that. But when you do hit that notify button, I do get it in. I will get it in. So Kelly Foreman has mentioned these before. I'm assuming you're talking about the Mardinia. Um, okay, you see it now. Dee says it's salty. Macroalgae tanks are a lot of fun, a lot like a planet tank. It is, exactly. It's basically a planet aquarium, but it's in salt water. And there are fertilizers too for macroalgae. I know Brightwell Aquatics has it. It's called Cato Grow. Chaetomorpha is a type of algae, that's used in the filtration section, more specifically. But yeah, there are, and I believe I heard that you can use freshwater fertilizers for saltwater macroalgae, but it's not advisable. There's not a lot of testing done on it, so I would not recommend it. Um, but yeah, a lot of people are getting into that, saltwater aquascaping, if you will. And you don't have to do all. You can do all macroalgae. You can do a hybrid. You can put some corals in there and macroalgae. Whatever suits you. Steven, I know you're listening. Yep. So it looks like there's a macroalgae tank in the works here. Yeah, Dee Steven, I've heard, like, I don't remember what live stream it was, but like Jenna was talking about seahorses and things like that. And I was active in that chat. I was like, at least giving my 2 cents about it. I love seahorses. I've kept seahorses, mostly in laboratory setting, but I have enough experience with them that I can keep them when I want to, when I'm ready for them. Just keep in mind, seahorses are not beginner friendly. They are intermediate to advanced. So I would recommend, keeping some easy to maintain organisms when you're getting into saltwater, and then moving on to seahorses if you want. Um, All you need for macroalgae is some kind of flow maker, or yeah, wave maker, and aged live rock. It's really not that more advanced than a nice planet tank. Yeah, it's really not. Um, there are some algae that have like a root system, but it's not necessarily a root system. It's called a holdfast. If you guys have ever looked at what kelp looks like, right? Like in the California, Monterey Bay area, um, those types of macroalgae have a holdfast. It's almost like a root structure, but it's not. It just anchors the algae to the rock or substrate or hardscape, whatever. So it's basically you just setting up the hardscape and then just jamming in macroalgae in the cracks and crevices. Some macroalgae you can bury, or you can plant into the substrate, into the sand. But it's almost like an epiphyte. You can think of it that way. And then at some point, the algae just attaches itself to the live rock, and you're good to go. I am noticing that the Wi-Fi is starting to act up. So please let me know if things are going things are not going well. I do apologize. Yeah, Atkins, you're correct. So if you guys might know that there's a difference in spectrum when it comes to saltwater aquaria versus freshwater aquaria, right? Um, I know there's a lot of saltwater tanks that are more blue in color. I don't like that. Um, but there is a spectrum difference. It's because with saltwater you're looking at corals versus freshwater you're looking at plants, right? But for macroalgae, because it's a plant, you can you can put a regular freshwater planted light on it, and you'll do perfectly fine. Um, it's only when you start adding like corals and things like that that you do need to look into the type of spectrum you're using. But if it's just macroalgae and fish and inverts, like crabs and snails and whatnot and shrimp, you can do very well um, with a freshwater light. Didi says, Usama, can you show us the plant that you have 5 of them growing in the tank so we can see a picture? Are you referring to on the website or you want to see them in the tank? Can you specify, Didi? Do you want to see, were you asking for the picture on the website or you want to see them in the tank? Because then I have to lower the laptop. But I mean, I can kind of show you where they are. They're actually like right here. That's the Mordania Kasek. I'm probably saying the last name wrong. Um, but it's these plants right here. Let me see if I can take them out. Hang on. I'll take one out for you. Nothing wrong with getting my hands wet here. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay. Gonna try to not drip water onto my laptop because I ain't got the money for a new laptop. Um, but here it is. Whoop, stay put. As you can tell, it cannot stay up by itself, so it's not really that rigid of a plant. Come on, man, work with me here. So it's not really that rigid of a plant. It's almost done transitioning to its aquatic phase, so it's pretty much ready to plant in. But yeah, this is pretty much. Oh, something fell. This is. It will get a little higher, taller than this. It's just the water's shallow. Um, but it's a really cool plant. It's been doing okay for me. I like. It's a unique stem plant, like it's mentioned in the description. Like I've mentioned it in the description. It's like almost like a bamboo. So if you're looking for like a fully aquatic bamboo thingy for your aquascape, like if you're doing like a Asian Dutch style aquascape, and you want like a bamboo forest, this is a really great plant for that. All right, this guy's got to go back in. Give me 1 second. Okay. Lazy rice fish are going crackers deluxe. What's going on here? Are you feeding us? Not yet, my friends. Not yet. Okay. All right. Let's go back to where I was. Okay, I notified. Okay, I notified for 3, but would prefer some of them in tissue culture, but don't see them. Um, I'll take a look at what you put, and if it is available in tissue culture, I'll let you know. But that's a good point. So with Tropica, at least, not all the plants that are available in potted are available in tissue culture. Most of the plants that are available in potted are available in tissue culture, if that makes sense. Um, so I try to not have the same plant in 2 categories. Um, Sometimes I do. Um, but if you prefer it in tissue culture, and it's available, I'll let you know and I can get that in. So Atkins is asking, do I have any Barclaya? Barclaya, Barclaya. I need to look that up. Whoop. Bar, B-A-R-C, B-A-R-C? B-A-R-C-L. Come on, Usama. B-R-C-L-A. C-L-A-Y-A. C-L-A-Y-A. Oh! Let me share my screen here so you guys can see what I'm seeing. Okay. That's an interesting plant. That kind of looks like cryptoflamingo if I'm being honest here. A little different in leaf shape, but um and the question is it looks like it's a it looks like it's a bulb plant. Is it a bulb plant? Atkins, if you know more about this plant, is it a bulb plant or is it like a regular rooted stem plant? Because I'm not familiar with this plant actually. Yeah, Barclaya longifolia. It's longifolio, right? Those leaves are long. Like, look at that. So it's giving me cryptocoryne. Um, what's that? What? Oh my God, what is that? Hang on. I usually get it from Tropica. Us starts with a U. The species name is a U, or excuse me, the species name. Cryptocoryne austeriana. It looks very similar to that, just the coloration is a little different. Um, a rosette plant. Okay, but yeah, I don't know much about it. Yeah, I've never heard of this plant. I might have to look into it more. As of right now, the suppliers that I get my plants from, Tropica and the nursery in Florida, I have not seen this on their stock list, but I can double check and look into that. But yeah, I've never seen this plant before. Looks cool. Like it looks pretty. It's a pretty red plant. Scotty, I know you've been looking for red plants, but okay. Thrive Plus in his macroalgae tank. Okay, okay. Hang on, let me stop that for a second. Yeah, Thrive Plus, I think. Where is it? Yeah, I heard of Thrive Plus. I've never personally used it. Um, I've never personally used it. I mainly, when it comes to fertilizers for freshwater, at least, I use Tropica. I used to use the Chem before. Um, and then for saltwater, if you have Kato macroalgae, usually you can use the Brightwell Kato Grow. But that's a good thing to mention. So Didi says so for the most part, freshwater peeps detest most algae, and salties are proud as punch to have algae. Yeah. Well, no. If you've got we get our own fair share of pest algae, Didi. If you get green bubble algae, you know, we get our own version of blackbeard algae. Diatoms. We get diatoms. We get a blue green algae, which isn't actually an algae; it's actually a bacteria. Um, but yeah, we get our own fair share of pest algae. But most of the macroalgae, yeah, we love them. Yeah, yes, Atkins already got there. Bubble algae sucks. Um, emerald crabs are known to help with that. But I've heard mixed results. Sometimes they'll get if it's gotten like really bad, the emerald crabs won't even touch it. Um, but yeah, we get our fair share of pests, pest algae. We basically new tank syndrome. Even yeah. Steven says we'll get seahorses and we will live shares it through her. Okay. I mean, hey Steven, if you need any help with the seahorses or you need any supplies, let me know, man. I got you. They are rewarding when you get the hang of maintaining them and understanding their needs. They are very rewarding pets to keep, or fish to keep. And you get and I will recommend if you do decide to go for seahorses when you are ready, Seahorse Savvy, best place to get them at. They're all aquacultured. They're all accepting of dry foods as well. They do like live foods or frozen foods as well as dry foods. Um, but they're really great and a very good great variety. Stay away from the pygmy seahorses. Those are like advanced category. Don't get pygmy. Get the regular species of seahorses when you're ready for them. But do your research first. Yeah, Atkins. I can't. A little bit of blue is fine, but there's a video by Bulk Reef Supply. They had this like series of one of their guys setting up a cube tank. I believe it was either a water box or an innovative marine cube tank, and he would set them up for different like biotopes or different species of fish. He would set up a tank for anemones only and things like that. And there is a section in those videos about the lighting, the par for the lighting that he does, because a lot of with the saltwater we use the AI lights. He was using the AI lights, and I like aqua illumination lights. I use them in the lab as well. So I'm familiar with how to set the par and everything. And so he himself did not like a lot of the blue. And so he would set it to a par or a light flavor, if you will, where there is a little bit of blue, but it's mostly white and red and all that stuff. So the aquarium looked beautiful. And so I actually saved that video. So when I do go and set up my first ever saltwater home saltwater tank, I'm going to set it to that or similar to that setting, because I don't like the blue. It's just, and in order for in because in the sense of if I want to record, right, cameras and blue light do not mix well. And so but I think with that light spectrum, it would make it a little easier. With blue light, if you're recording with a camera or even a phone camera, there's now like filter lenses you put on to filter out the blue so you can actually see what the coral looks like. Yeah, it's for some people they like it because certain corals glow in blue light, right? And they love that pop of color. I don't. I like to keep things natural and you know, exhibit quality, if you will. So when I do set up my own saltwater systems, they're gonna be more on the daylight spectrum than like bluish spectrum. Um, so Steven is asking, how strong does the light need to be? I have a fluval aqua sky on the 20 tall that I intend to convert to salt. Um, Stephen, if you are planning to only keep macroalgae or non-photosynthetic coral, which I don't recommend for beginner saltwater people, um, you should be fine. The fluval aqua sky, I don't have experience with. I've never I never used it. I usually use like the full spectrum LED lights. Um, but if it's working well for your freshwater plants, it should work fine for the saltwater macroalgae. Yeah. Yeah, if it's working well for your freshwater plants, it should work fine for saltwater. Yeah. It's only when you start adding photosynthetic like corals and things like that where it might not work for you. But if you're just doing, you know, macroalgae, you should be okay. Didi, were you referring to the tank behind me? I just did a water. I don't know. You guys can. Oh, there's a little bit of glare. I just did a water change on that tank last night. So I had to get rid of some of the Amazon frog bit because it was overtaking it. Which, by the way, if you guys want any Amazon frog bit, I have it on the store. Um, but yeah, I had to like take out some of the frog bit, and so that light can go through down to the plants because I have like that area right there. I don't know how well you guys can see it, but I have the plants that I got from the clash, and whoops, sorry, and they're alive. They're alive in the words of Scotty. Um, but they're not growing as well as I want them to, and it could just be because of the light. It could be the cover. They're not getting good enough light, but they're alive, and that's okay for me. Um, okay, I can see that should be plenty of light, Steven. If the macros start to bleach out, then dial back the channel some. Start at 50%. They will tell you if it's enough. Yep, yep, basically. You don't want to go too overboard with it. You don't want it to be too low. I am sorry that this my laptop is shaking because I have it on like the little personal dinner tables that you can put in front of you, and it's wobbly, and I keep hitting it. I do apologize, guys. Jeff says Fluval 3.0 40 breeders should do. I would run two for better coverage. That's what I have that's what I have experience with is the Fluval 3.0 full spectrum. If you have that, you're perfectly fine, and then you can use the app to dial in the spectrum a little bit more. I noticed that we're over the time, but if you guys are okay with it, we can go a little bit longer. I'm enjoying this, answering questions. This is a nice stream, another learning stream for me to go to what your plants and now this. Yeah, thank you. I like how tunable the Sky and 3.0s are, but I did pick up two Glorium lights to play with. Glorium. Never heard of that. I'm going to look that up now. Glorium. Oh, not that. Glorium aquarium light? Oh, okay. So it's like one of those, I'm assuming, cheaper lights you can get at like Amazon, maybe? Yeah, it's not a brand I am familiar with. But anyway, nothing wrong with experimenting. That's the whole point. We're aquarium scientists. You know, we should experiment, see what works, and see what doesn't. Uh, um, I was talking about your plants in the circle holes tanks. Okay. I tried using BRS settings on my AI lights. It's too much blue, in my opinion. I bumped the white LEDs to 30% to get a nice daylight look in the peak setting. Okay. Yeah, the settings that I'm talking about was from a video that I saw. Um, I wasn't aware they had their own settings at like maybe on their website, but this particular setting from the video I saw, the spectrum looked very well. It wasn't really that blue, but I guess it keep in mind it also depends on the depth of your tank, right? Um, you know, yeah, there are physics associated with it, but if you were able to adjust it to be more in tune with what you're looking for, then that's good. I'd be interested in seeing what your settings are more specifically, because maybe I might try it on my setup. It's close to Fluval Sky price. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know how the prices are going to be in this new year, because apparently every year they decide to jack up the prices on everything. But what are you going to do, right? I haven't opened it yet, but I got a 24-inch wide reptile glass enclosure with like a 3 to 5 gallon water tank in the bottom. That's a paludarium, Diddy. Hoping to be able to do escape for anoles and some aquatic plants. Yeah, yeah, that's a paludarium. Um, yeah, that's a really cool thing. You want to go away, cat? My sister's cat just decided to what? A mice goes out of the boy. Go over there. Go bug mama. Go. My sister's cat. It's not leaving me. Um, it's the modern way. Yep, yep. If anybody tells you the aquarium hobby is cheap, it can be, but I mean, if you compare it to like maybe 2 or 3 years ago and to now, and you try to do the same setup with the same stuff, no, not really. No longer that cheap. Um, but yeah, so the smaller one I have now, I use the entire thing for plants. Are you referring? So okay, so you have more than one of those tanks, Didi? Now my question is for anoles. Now I'm not a reptile person. I specialize in semi-aquatic stuff, so frogs and turtles. That's what I go for. But would anoles do well in a paludarium setting? Any for anybody that's familiar with reptiles and anoles in particular. I mean, I know what anoles are. I know what they are, but I don't know if they would do well in a paludarium setting. Okay, Dee, so you have an anole, so you might know better than me on what works well for it. Yeah, Atkins AI makes it easy to copy. I agree with you. That's why I like it. I think because AI and Ecotech Marine are in the same like company. I think you can do the same thing with Ecotech. I haven't worked with Ecotech, so I'm more familiar with AI. Which, by the way, guys, even though when I talk about like AI and Ecotech Marine things like that, they have freshwater lights as well, and I have it on the website too. Um, Ecotech and AI both have freshwater lights as well, which are they're more tuned in to the freshwater spectrum, less blue in their in that spectrum, but same mechanics. Um, okay, so Jeff says that they should do well in the paludarium. Okay, cool. That's good to know. I have a mister in her cage now. I caught her in the backyard over a year ago. Oh, so it's a wild caught. Anoles are native to US? I didn't know that. I wouldn't be surprised if they're not because people tend to release their animals into the wild, which you should not do. Please don't do that. It gives us dedicated pet keepers a bad name, and in turn, laws get passed that go against our favor, like it's been happening recently. Um, so please keep your pets and take care of them responsibly, because these laws are not making it more fun for us. AI is easy to use. Just stay off Mobius. Use the My AI app. I have heard mixed reviews about Mobius. So AI app is obviously controlling the AI lights. Mobius is for Ecotech Marine. Um, can I think you can control AI on Mobius now? I might be wrong because it's the same company. It's the same. It's under the same umbrella company. But I have heard mixed reviews about Mobius. I have experience with AI more than Ecotech, so I even when I start my own saltwater system, tank or tanks, they'll all have AI lights just because that's what I'm familiar with. Um, Dee says I like to think she loves me at least on cricket days. Dee, there's who cannot love you? Let's be honest here, and I think the chat would agree with me here. But yeah, at least on cricket days, I mean, what animal would not love you when you're the one feeding them, you know? Yes, they are everywhere here. And Jeff says they are southern US. Okay, I didn't know that. That's good to know. See, I'm learning stuff. We even have skinks in Wisconsin. Ugh. I definitely know what skinks are. No, thank you. My fishies are okay for me. Fish and birds. So I am a bird enthusiast. I've kept parakeets and finches and things like that. And if I have the ability, I would most happily keep them again. So birds and fish are my two loves. I didn't know they were called anoles until reptiles. Bob Kaler. Give me one moment, guys. Sorry about that. Um, I didn't know they were called anoles until reptiles, Bob Kaler. I just always called them lizards from childhood. I mean, they are lizards. They're in the same family as lizards, so you're not wrong, Dee. Yeah, I thought so. But it's a pain to connect. I mean, I don't see the point of it, right? Like it's an AI product on an ecotech product. What can go wrong, right? Is what they might be thinking. But no, if you have AI, connect it to the AI app. If you have Ecotech, connect it to the Mobius app. We don't need them to mingle with each other. Okay, don't make it more difficult than it already is. So Jeff, we have skinks here too, but I get scared at first thinking they are a snake. No, thank you. No, thank you. No, no, nothing of that sort for me. I had an Ecotech pump. Stupid thing wouldn't connect, so switched to AI Nero pumps. They always connect for me. I got a Nero. Hang on. If you saw my video when I went to Reefapalooza, there's a lot of junk over there. If you saw my video when I went to Reefapalooza, New York, which I think they should change the name to New Jersey because it happens in New Jersey. But I digress. I always get tickets for the raffle. Rarely win, except for twice. Once was I got the water box 20 cube saltwater cube. I won that. It was the biggest prize. Everybody was putting their tickets in. And what's interesting about it is at the time I was looking to get a water box, right? And I didn't know they had it as a raffle prize, and I just so happened because I always go on Saturdays. It is a full weekend event. Um, so I went on Saturdays, and lo and behold, they had a water box 20 um tank for raffle. I may have spent $100 in tickets. Keep in mind, a water box 20-gallon cube can is not is not worth $100. It's priced more than that. But I maybe spent $100 in tickets. It's like $20 for a sheet. I don't know how many tickets are on it. Um, and the majority of those tickets went into there. Okay, so that might have played a role in why I won. But keep in mind, it's like the biggest prize there, and everybody's going for it. Okay, so it was still a gamble at that point. But I did put tickets and other things that I wanted, and I happened to won. And I remember that day, and some of my friends from like college and whatnot were also there with me, and they announced the ticket number. I had to do a double take on my ticket just to double check it was my ticket. Oh, I'm getting some delays here. Can you guys? Am I good? Did I freeze? Can I get some confirmation? Okay, thanks, Jeff. Um, so I had to do a double take, and I literally like screamed at the top of my lungs, and I waving my ticket up in here like I was shaking from excitement, the fact that I won something that I was already looking at to get, and and I won it. And like people were congratulating me, they were patting me on the back because they saw how excited I was. My friends were my two friends, actually my friend and her significant other were later on told me she was like me and him were talking and we were like you're gonna there's no way you can't win it. And I won it. And so that time I was the one time I um um, that I won a raffle. And the second time I won a raffle, I got the AI Nero 3 wave maker. So it says submersible pump, but it's a wave maker. Um, because after I won the water box, every time I go to not just Reefapalooza, but any like saltwater event that has a raffle, I'll put tickets in to to equipment and supplies that I would want for the water box, right? And so this past Reefapalooza, I put in stuff for like the AI lights or even the Ecotech lights, um, and the Nero one. There were two Neros. There was I think the 7, which is the newest model that AI came out, and then the 3. And the 3 is the smallest of the three sizes. And obviously, I have a 20-gallon nano cube. I don't need a lot because these things pack a punch. And I just wanted the small one because I didn't want a too big of a piece of equipment in my tank. And I put it in here too. And I only spent like maybe $60 on the raffle ticket, so I wasn't expecting much. Um, but I won it, so I was like, "Yay! Luck is on my side." But yeah, I got the Nero thing. The Ecotech pumps. It's not a bad brand. Okay, a lot of coral aquaculture facilities, a lot of public aquariums use Ecotech and have don't really have any issues. It's just it just depends on everybody's experience with it. I've heard mixed experiences with it, but it's by no means a bad brand. Um, I personally will vouch for AI because I've kept AI. That being said, I have had issues with AI too. Okay, with their lights not working properly, like the lights that we have in the lab, we've had to replace maybe twice. And these are the Hydras, the AI Hydra, um, 20 or 30 something. That's no longer it's the light that is no longer in production. Atkins, you might know, but we've had to replace that like twice. But they're good with that. They're good with replacing lights. So I love parakeets and cockatiels. That's my goal, is to keep cockatiels. I've kept parakeets. I might keep them again, but I want to keep cockatiels. I just think they're just adorable. They're so adorable, and they're so sociable. Um, I always wanted a cockatoo, but could never afford one. No, those guys are an investment. Cockatoos, macaws, African greys, they are a investment. Um, they can be loud, right? But every large species of bird, parrot is loud. But I agree, they're very similar to cockatiels in terms of their sociability. Actually, as a matter of fact, I told myself that, and people laugh at me for this. I'm a huge vampire fan, and I would tell people that one day I want a cockatoo, and I'm gonna name him Van Helsing. um, and people get a crack out of this. Like, of course you're gonna name him Van Helsing, but yeah. Welcome back, Mexicali. Okay, people talking amongst each other. How you liking the Apex? Okay, here we go. Um, so for my experience with Apex is through our lab, right? And the whole purpose of getting the Apex is because I've been following Neptune Apex, you know, from even before that. So I was very familiar with Apex, how it worked, what the features were of it, and I was very impressed with it. I was like, this is can really be used in the scientific world, in laboratory settings, right? To monitor water quality and things like that. And so when were starting the lab, the reason we really needed the Apex, it wasn't a matter of we should get it, um, but we actually needed the Apex because we don't have 7 day a week access to that lab, and obviously we want to make sure that the equipment is working right. There's no leaks or anything like that, and so the Apex, the fact that we proposed that we would be getting a monitoring system was a big a factor in the university, the marine science facility, allowing us to set up the coral farm, right? Was because the fact that we have the Apex gives us um a little bit of what's the word I'm looking for? If you guys know me well enough, you know this happens all the time. It's like I can't, it's on the tip of my tongue. But it gave us a sense of relief that there's a monitoring system hooked up to this that we can access from anywhere. So for those of you who are not familiar with Apex, what Atkins is referring to, it's the Neptune's Apex. It is a monitoring system mostly used in the saltwater world. It can be used in freshwater, but a lot of people in freshwater I've heard use Felix or Kai as it's now known. If any of you guys are familiar with the Felix Smart, they just changed it to their whole thing to Kai now. Um, but most people in the freshwater world have been using Kai versus Apex, which is mostly used for saltwater. Um, but it's a monitoring system that you hook up, all your pumps and lights and whatever, your heaters, everything to that, and you hook it, you connect it to your smartphone. There's a My AI app, or not My AI app, Apex Fusion app, and where it doesn't matter where you are in the world, as long as you have access to Wi-Fi, you can monitor your system. You can see what equipment is working. You can put it to feed mode through your phone. You can see what the temperature is, what the salinity, what the pH, and what the ORP is, or oxygen reduction potential is. And it's a really cool thing. Um, there are mixed views, like with any type of tech. There are mixed views about it. My experience with Apex, Atkins, to answer your question now, my experience is mixed. A lot of great potential. It's something that we needed in the hobby, I think, to really make it a little more easy to maintain our saltwater systems. But there are bugs to it, and Apex hasn't really been doing a great job of trying to mitigate it. Keep in mind, although you're dealing with probes and a monitoring system, things like that, it is not lab grade quality. It's hobbyist grade, so you're not getting lab grade quality. Okay, but that being said, you still want something that's reliable, right? Because you are depending, to be honest, you're depending on the system to give you accurate data, right? And we've had issues. To start off, we had issues with connecting it to the internet because we had to connect to the university's internet. Their internet is obviously secure, right? So we had to literally get IT to come to the lab and basically hook it up for us to the internet and actually get allow it to gain access to the university's internet. So you can connect the Apex via Wi-Fi or Ethernet cable. We had to do it via Ethernet cable to make sure that we don't get any hiccups with the Wi-Fi, right? And that's what IT recommended. They were like, "We think you should hook it up to Ethernet," and so they brought in an Ethernet cable and connected it and everything, and we were good. Um, we had some issues with dialing in the way and the sump pump. So the core we got the Apex core pump, which is the return pump. We had some issues calibrating it to basically to leveling the sump. We think it's not the pump's fault. It's mainly how the plumbing was done, because we were dealing with a tank that was given to us for free from the lab. Um, and so some changes had to be made for the sump. Changes were made in terms of the water flow coming into the sump. And this we're talking about the Core 20, which is the largest pump, which actually Neptune recommended because we did reach out to Neptune Systems to figure out what would work best for our type of system. And so we had issues with that. Um, and one of the ongoing issues we've been having is the probes. Not so much with the temperature probe, more with the salinity and pH probes not giving us accurate readings. And there are reasons for that. Um, there it is there's electrical interference. So the wires that are attaching the probe to the unit is not insulated. So there is electrical interference because it is a light. It's a electrical type probe. I don't know the whole specifics of it because it's been a while since I've worked with it. Um, but there's electrical interference that can alter the reading. If you get micro bubbles in the probe, that can make it um, that can alter the readings. If you get a lot of encrusting going on the probe, that can alter the readings. If you're not keeping up with calibrations, that can screw up the reading. And it's been an ongoing battle where even right now, because I'm still connected to the Apex app, even though I'm not working in the lab right now, I get notifications of something going on, like a alarm going on and alarm going off, because you can set alarms on the Apex region. So if the temperature goes way high than it should be, it'll send you an alarm, and if you program it right, it'll actually shut the heater off. And so that's a big annoyance that we've been getting is we aren't comfortable with the readings we've been getting because we've been using testing other readers and testers to average out the reading with the Apex and to compare with the Apex, and we have been seeing inconsistencies with it, and that's been a big problem that we've been battling with it. So to answer your question, Atkins, I've had mixed feelings with it. I think it's a really cool. I think it would have worked better if it was in a home setting versus the environment we have it in. That could be it. I do plan on getting an Apex of my own at some point in my aquarium life, but so far I've had mixed feelings about it. I have not worked with Felix or Kai, the other monitoring system, but I've heard better reviews of that than the Apex. Um, so sorry, just going through comments. People are talking amongst themselves, which is good. I enjoy that. Vampire fan. I have never wanted a vampire. Well, if you know the Dracula tale, Van Helsing wasn't a vampire. He was the guy that kills the vampire, or he's the vampire expert. So yeah, Jeff, it is an interesting monitoring system. Definitely something if you're into saltwater, definitely something to look into. They have different kits for different price points. You can add things in, you can take things away in terms of the features, but it's definitely something to look into. It's I'm not trying to not have you guys look into it. Um, there are good things of it, there are bad things of it. Yes, Didi, peace of mind. That's a better word than what I used. So Jorge is asking Usama, do you have brick and mortar store or online only? Um, it's online only. So as you guys can probably tell, I Atlantic Aquariums operates out of my house. Okay, my basement is my brick and mortar store. So obviously I can't have people coming to my basement. So it is online only. I do go to in-person events like Keystone Clash. Most likely I will be going to Stockton University for their second annual Fishapalooza event that the Stockton Aquarium and Aquaculture Club hosts. Um, I haven't gotten the details for that yet, but I have let them know that I want to come back as a vendor. The first event that the first Fishapalooza that they did last year, we had good turnout, but not a lot of sales. But we want to change that. So if you are a vendor and you would and you're in the Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York area, and you can go down to Atlantic City because we're about 20 minutes away from Atlantic City in the main campus in Galloway, New Jersey. If you're a vendor and you want to support the event, there's no fee. You don't as a vendor or a guest, you don't have to pay anything. Which I personally would not do that because the club needs to make money to operate because we're a nonprofit. But I'm no longer part of the e-board, so it's up to whatever the current e-board wants to operate it as. So that's one of the benefits is you don't have to pay for anything. So you can just come, vend, make money. You're good to go. If you'd like to sponsor the event and donate for the raffle, they're always happy to get sponsorships that way. Um, if you want to just donate to the club directly in general, you can always reach out to them and ask how you can do that. Um, but for that event, you don't have to pay anything. You can just come, buy what you want, go. If you're a vendor, just sign up, come, set up, you're good to go. But yeah, so events like that I do come to. So if you ever want to, because certain products that I sell on the website, um, you would have to pick up locally. And that's another point I wanted to make was I do offer local pickup if you're in the area. I'm in South Jersey in the Burlington County area. Um, so if you purchase through the website and instead of shipping, just click local pickup. You'll get a notification of when your order is ready, and you can just come up and pick it up at my house. That feature will most likely will be changing where I'm gonna get rid of it because again I don't have a brick and mortar store. Local pickup makes more sense if I had a brick and mortar store. Um, so there may be a chance that I might be getting rid of that feature of local pickup, which will affect the type of products I can have on my online store. But some of those products that are local pickup only, if I do get rid of that feature, will still be available at in-person events like the Keystone Clash. But the reason certain products that are on my website will say local pickup only is because they're too big for me to ship right now. It's not financially I'm not financially able to ship it to you um versus smaller stuff. So like the 20-pound bag of aquarium soil, I'm not shipping it to you. You have to pick it up. But I do have 6-pound bags. So it's whatever it's what you are looking for. But reach out to me if there's something in particular, and we can meet halfway, or I don't know. I am willing to work with my customers, with my fellow aquarium scientists. Okay, it's 20 degrees outside. Yikes. That is very cold. By the way, if you order like live goods from me and it's that cold, don't don't do it. Um you can add a heat pack to your order. It's a 72-hour heat pack, which I recommend you do if you're getting live goods because during the winter, if you add a heat pack, you will qualify for DOA, because you have a less chance. But if you have extreme temperatures like that, don't order. Hold off on the order, okay, until the weather gets a little bit better. And you can find out my preferences of when you should order on the shipping and return section on the website. Also, by the way, I talk about my store a lot here. That's not gonna happen a lot because Atlantic Aquariums does have its own YouTube channel. I'm just not focusing on that right now because I am going to be moving that channel to a different account that manages all the social medias for Atlantic Aquariums. And then also I want to get a better setting to record videos for that channel. So there's nothing really going on the Atlantic Aquariums YouTube channel, but from time to time, at least during live streams, I'll mention anything major going on with the store. Um, Otherwise, just follow us on Instagram or become a member on the website, and you'll get email notifications from time to time from me. I try not to bombard people who are on the mailing list. I try not to bombard you with unnecessary emails, because I myself hate it. So I only send out emails for things I think I want the people on my mailing list to know about. Um, let's all head to his basement. Let's all head to his basement. Let's and shop some fishy stuff. I wish I'd be more happy if I wasn't living with an entire family. I would be more than happy to invite people over to see stuff, but it's not feasible right now. Sorry. Uh, hey Fathom, how you doing? Thanks for stopping by. Sama, I have been to some sweet breeder sellers by appointment invite in their basements. Yeah, you're definitely right. I mean, also think about it this way, like um Miss Jinx inverts, right? Um um she would you can go to her basement, basically her fish room by appointment to select fish to buy, right? It's definitely doable. It's just not something I am currently comfortable doing. Like I said, I live with family who are always in the house, and so I personally am not comfortable. And and I am Muslim, by the way, and so like my mother, she does cover, and so if I have strangers coming in, it's just uncomfortable for her and my grandmother and sisters and whatnot. So you know maybe one day, but hopefully I will have a brick and mortar store. It's just a matter of saving up money because right now I can barely keep my online store stocked because I have no money. Um, you know, an insider fact for you guys: I make nothing from this business. Everything that all when people place an order on the website, all that money goes back to the operation of the website, keeping the website up and ordering more stock, inventory. I get no profit from it. It's just the only reason Atlantic Aquariums is still going is because it was a dream and a passion of mine to have my own fish store, or aquarium store. So um, and I'm gonna keep it running for as long as I can. There have been days, and I've spoken with Scotty a couple of times about it. There have been days where I basically told him, I was like, this is probably going to be the last year, because it's not going the way I want it to go. Um, and and I'm not blaming myself. I'm not blaming people who visit the website for I'm not trying to. push you guys to buy stuff from me. By no means necessary. If you guys do buy stuff from me, I really appreciate it. I appreciate the support. I'm not one of those businessmen where I'm trying to give you guys a sob story. Um, it's just how it is. That's how business is. Um, you know, um, Blake Stevens, if you guys are familiar with him, he's currently working on his brick and mortar stores and has been going through some obstacles, but he's still persevering, and I'm rooting for him because I know the difficulties of it, and I've offered him my assistance in any way possible if he so needs it. Um, but yeah, my goal is hopefully at first when I started Atlantic Aquariums, it was gonna just be online only, and then maybe I'll grow in out of my basement into a facility. Now I actually want to set I want a physical brick and mortar store where you guys can come in, as well as purchase on the website. But it's not going to be anytime soon. Because this business is running off of my own funds. I don't get any money from my parents. I don't get any money from my relatives. One of my relatives offered to give me some, and I took it, and now I'm saving up to pay her back because I don't want to be in debt to anybody. Um, but yeah, anyway, just saw this stream on Fish Fam. Wanted to stop in and support a fellow Fish Fam member. Appreciate it, Fathom. Thank you very much. Did not know the stream was on Fish Fam because it was a last minute thing, so I just didn't bother letting Fish Fam know. Hey, I'm gonna be live. 5:41, longer than I wanted it to go, but we're having fun here. Um, Thank you very much, Didi. I really appreciate that. Yeah, we got 13 people in the chat right now, so I really do appreciate it. Thank you very much, guys, for stopping by on your New Year's Eve, spending some time with me. I will have to get off at some point because we are having guests over, and I have been invited to a New Year's party too that I have to get ready for. So, which means changing out of this aquascaping competition shirt that I got from Jen for judging the aquascaping competition at the Clash. So I just see people chatting amongst themselves. Great, great. The emails I get from you are very acceptable. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Also, by the way, if you guys just a side note here, if you guys have been buying stuff from Atlantic Aquariums, and you've made an account, you're a member of the website and everything like that, you do get rewards points as a member for your purchases. Which after I think of after like $100 or 100 points, you get $10 off. Don't know if you guys were aware of that or not, because I do keep track of that stuff. I have access to it. So next time you guys log in, like Didi, I know you have a lot of points. So next time you log into the website, check the rewards section, and see how many rewards points you have, and utilize it. If you're a member, if you're a paying member of the Bucks County Aquarium Society or the Lancaster Aquarium Club, you have a discount code from Atlantic Aquariums because we do support you guys. Please utilize that. Nobody has utilized it yet except for Scotty, which makes sense. but um, but please use the discounts I give you. I gift you. All right, it's for your benefit. Um, because I want to support you guys, and because you guys support me, I want to support you. So please utilize that stuff. Um, I don't want to work a double day today. Sorry, man. I don't work today either, but usually on Sundays I have Sunday school, but we're currently in like winter break. So I have Sunday off today, thankfully. But yeah, especially in this time of year, it doesn't matter where you're working, it can get pretty hectic. Hey, I'm always happy and excited. Here's an interesting story, and this is kind of sad, but I remember when Atlantic Aquariums first went live, right? And the first exposure that Atlantic Aquariums got was from PECTech. I actually reached out to Sean at PECTech and told him, I was like, "Hey man, I'm a huge fan of yours. A lot of what I know about fish keeping and um, aquascaping was from you." He was one of the first fish tubers that I subscribed to, right? And I said, I just started an aquarium business, and I have these Tropica tissue culture plants. I would be more than happy to send them your way for you to try out, and maybe give a shout out or whatever. And he made a video about it, and that got a lot of that started getting Atlantic Aquariums a lot of visits on the website. And I remember the first ever um order that I got, I was shaking like what I'm shaking right now, but this is just stage fright and social anxiety. But I was so excited. I remember running to my mother and showing her the order because I have the app on my phone that's connected to my website. So if you place an order, I get a notification of it. And I was so excited. I was so eager to pack it up and all the process to test how well I can ship stuff and things like that. And I remember shipping it to him and getting back to him and asking him if he can let me know how the plants came in and everything like that. I even put a heat pack in there because it was during the colder months. Um, and I was just ecstatic. And even to this day, every time I get a order confirmation or order notification on my phone, I get really excited and I make sure to let my mother know because, you know, my mother gets excited as well. But when I'm not getting orders and I'm just spending money on inventory, she kind of gets a little antsy. But that's all Asian parents, to be honest with you. She does not like when I donate stuff or I offer, coupon codes or anything like that because she's like, you barely make any money and you're giving stuff for free. But I like to support the hobby any way I can. Whether or not it gives Atlantic Aquariums any more traffic or not doesn't really matter. I love the community that has been made. I love the people that reach out to me. Um, and if you buy something in the process, great. I appreciate it. If not, it's not the end of the world. That's a good point, Jeff. It's not just with me. It's like everywhere in the aquarium industry, and it's the pricing. We in the aquarium trade, we're working with very thin margins. Like the if you go to the website right now and you look up the Tropica plants specifically, some of the pots are like 17.99, right? That's the lowest retail price Tropica allows me to do. And that's because they're trying to offset the pricing of shipping. They're trying to add shipping, the cost of for me to get those plants shipped to me, right? Because I'm paying shipping when I'm purchasing those plants to get to me. Because these plants are coming from Canada and they're coming overnight. The plants are at least. The dry goods don't come overnight. And they have a policy. Excuse me, of the lowest price you can put their products on, right? Because they're trying to make it a level playing field for all of their retailers, right? Which is understandable. So there's not a lot of competition. Um, and and if I and I'm able to I'm able to calculate the profit margins through the website when I'm adding the products and the pricing and everything in, and it's not a lot. It's I barely make 50% profit margins on a lot of the stuff I have on the website because I don't want to overprice some of these products and make it less accessible to people, right? Because as a consumer myself, like a lot of these products, I want to be able to buy them myself, right? I look at it in my perspective. And and so the only way for me to do that is to lower the profit margins. And instead of it being 50%, maybe 45 max, 37% profit margin. Um, it's tough, and it's tough for all of us. I don't just speak for I can only speak for myself, but I'm pretty sure that all other people in the hobby or in the industry are struggling. And it's just the pricing. Everything is going up. Shipping has been gone up. Like just recently, I had to increase the pricing of some of the products I have on the store as well as the minimum purchase requirement. So, which used to be $15 is now $20. So, in order for you to get something from me, before shipping, you have to have at least $20 worth of stuff in your cart for you to then continue on. The reason is because I'm trying to keep my shipping down that you have to pay the minimum requirement or the flat rate shipping because shipping has gone up significantly for USPS and UPS, which are the two that I use. Um, and so I'm like trying to like not make things more expensive than they have to be and still maintain, you know, um, the an ideal shipping cost. But it's like it's just something that is at least for this year, it's still going to be the same in terms of shipping and all that. But it's going to come to a point where I have to look into if I need to change the shipping costs and things like that. So it's tough. It's not easy for anybody, for the consumer and the seller. I can say that after 2 orders, everything I have bought from Usama has come in very nice. I appreciate that. It wasn't that good initially when I first started shipping stuff. There were times where plants were just not um there were times actually because this keep in mind Atlantic Aquarium started during the COVID years, during the pandemic. So shipping was a nightmare for like the carriers. And so I would have packages that would get thankfully not lost in shipping, but wouldn't get to where they need to be until like a week or two later, and the plants would come dead, and it was heartbreaking for me and heartbreaking for the consumer, for the customer. And but I would be like, you know and I would compensate obviously for it. But it's like once I pack something and I send it to USPS or UPS or whatever, it's in their hands at that point. I mean, I can't really do anything about it except pull up the tracking page on my phone and just track. So that's another thing. When you guys place an order with me, I pull up the tracking web page on my phone, and throughout the day I track where it's heading, just to make sure it gets to you at the right time. Um, and so yeah, like at the beginning, like I would have packages just not arrive on time and the plants going just melting. Because at the time when I first started Atlantic Aquariums, it was just tissue culture. I didn't start selling potted plants until later on. And those tissue culture plants unfortunately just wouldn't make it very well. It depended on how far it was going. But I'm happy to hear now that it's things are orders are getting to where they need to be at a timely manner, and everything is looking good. Yep, thank you very much. Who's sobbing? Jeff, it might just be you. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, there are times when I'm crying, but crying is healthy. There's nothing wrong with crying. Jeff, what are you referring to? Does a fish fan member count? Or was that not geared towards me? I'm not sure. I'm like way behind on comments here, so I apologize, guys. I will probably never use my discount. It's all about having Fish Fam with places to get things for me. Besides, I like the keep a kid in college when I. Yep, yep. Didi, you're gonna be keeping me in college. That's for sure. If you keep ordering like $200 worth of plants. No, like I'm being honest with you. Like the way the business is going right now, it's not gonna get me through college. But Thankfully, I'm only taking one class this semester, so and I have it on a payment plan. So on a monthly, like a monthly payment plan, I think is what it's at. So it's manageable right now. But yeah, the business is not supporting me in any way in terms of a livelihood. It's just a passion right now. That's basically what it is. Um, I only use discounts in big box type places now. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I mean it's there. So and I encourage you to use it. It's there for a reason. It's an enticement. If you want to add more stuff on there with that discount you get, you know, great, thank you. But it's there, and I'm not taking it down, so might as well use it. Or do what I do and save it. So like the local aquarium store that I go to, um they have a reward system, and I'm saving up my rewards points for when I set up my saltwater system, and then I can use those points to buy livestock and whatnot from them. So Fathom is saying logistics worldwide have been rising, and with really thin margins, they just get thinner, and it rolls downhill to the consumer to who has less buying power with their dollar and less dollars to spend. There you go. That's exactly it. It's really hard to buy anything, let alone sell it. Oh, okay. I think this is probably what Jeff was referring to. Fish Family patrons get awesome discounts on the channels that have joined in that program, and as a patron, I still don't use them for Fish Fam store purchases, even merch. So that's yes. So Jeff, if I believe Jeff was the one who was asking about that. If that is what you were talking about, so Atlantic Aquariums does participate in that program. If you are a Fish Fam Link patron, you have access to a discount code for 15% off $20 or more on the Atlantic Aquarium's website or in person. Um, if you come to the clash and you tell me what the discount code is, I'll put it into the thingy that I have, and you'll get your discount. So yeah. Fish Fam Link, you guys get that's the thing. I have discount codes everywhere, but nobody uses them. Because I can keep track of who's been using the discount codes, and when I do holiday discounts, Black Friday, things like that, nobody uses it. So it's like you know but it's like we've been discussing. It's hard. It's even for the consumer. It's for you, and I get it. I totally get it. And just another thing with Fish Fam Link. So like Atlantic Aquariums has been featured on their live stream shopping spree like twice. One was I donated, and then the other time, um, what's his name? I can't remember. If you guys know which live stream I'm talking about, you might know who donated it. I'm sorry, I can't think. I can. Richard Reynolds. He donated $100 and selected Atlantic Aquariums, which I was very excited about. Scotty actually gave me a heads up on that. Um, and I am planning on donating at some point. Not yet. So, Fish Family Link, if you're still in the chat, not yet, but I will reach out to you. But maybe at some point this year, before the clash specifically, I will hope I do plan to not only donate to a shopping spree at Atlantic Grims, but if Fish Fam Link will have me, I would like to join on it now that I'm very comfortable with live streaming. But it's not going to be anytime soon. So just stay put with that. And I haven't officially decided whether or not I'm going to do it or not. But it is something that I have been thinking about because I love what Fish Fam Link does. I love the concept of it. I love the community that's around it, and I want to support it any way that I can. It's crying time again in the chapel. That song is way too old for most of you to even know what this song was. I may be 27, but I'm old school, so I might know. I don't know. But when you get rich and famous, Osama, I think you will remember us. I doubt that will ever happen. I'm being honest with you. And this business is not for me to get rich off of by any means of the term. I don't plan on getting rich off of it. That being said, it does, as long as Atlantic Aquariums will be active, and even if at some point I have to dismantle it, um, the connections I have made, the networking, the friends I have made in this community, you guys ain't going nowhere. I will stay active and stay in touch with everybody as well and as much as I can. The Fish Family Patreon, are you involved with it yet for the points or the discount? Yeah, I think I've already answered that. Jeff, the Keystone Clash registration is a perfect birthday gift in my opinion. Just saying. Scotty might approve of this, of me saying this. If he is here. I haven't seen him in a while, so I think he left. But a Keystone Clash registration, I think, is a perfect gift. So I don't really think there is an excuse for you not to come. Also, if you are a saltwater person and you know other people in the saltwater world, especially clubs and organizations, please share the Keystone Clash with them. I want to see more saltwater representation in the Clash because we have our freshwater stuff, we have our saltwater stuff in terms of events. We used to have the aquatic experience, which had both, and I loved it because I do both, right? But they obviously are no longer active. And Scotty and the people who are managing the Keystone Clash, they want more saltwater stuff there. I want more saltwater stuff there. So Fish Fam community, spread the word. Get saltwater people out there because saltwater people, recently I'm very disappointed in you saltwater people. Like the Keystone Clash is giving you so many resources, an entire room to have a meeting or a frag swap, right? And they're willing to discuss with you in terms of if there's going to be a price for it or not or whatever. I don't know. Scotty's the person to reach out to, but nobody's biting. Nobody. And we're not getting any saltwater vendors either. And it's very disappointing, very heartbreaking for me. Like the amount of people that are going there, like you're even if you don't make a lot of sales, you're going to get a lot of exposure, right? So please, if you know people in the saltwater world, if you know any businesses, any vendors, any hobbyists that are fragging coral, we have a there's going to be a saltwater speaker, right? So, we want to make sure that that speaker has people coming to his talk. Whether you're freshwater, even if you're a freshwater, I strongly recommend you going there because hopefully it'll encourage you to get into saltwater. But yeah, I'm mostly about getting shipping free. I despise paying for shipping. I can explain that of all things. Well, Didi, the amount of, I mean, I have free shipping if you're doing USPS, it's $60 or more, you get free shipping. With UPS overnight, it's $100. So I remember, Didi, when you placed your recent order, you qualified for overnight shipping, but you chose flat rate. so, um, but yeah, I have free shipping available. Um, Depending on and with if you meet the minimum requirement. And on top of that, there's no taxes unless you purchase from New Jersey. If you're getting shipped in New Jersey, there is New Jersey tax. But because I don't have a lot of nexus in other states, I don't collect tax from other states as of right now. As of right now. Um, but yeah, you're not even getting taxed either. You're not getting sales tax. So do with that what you will. But after I graduate from the college world, there's a thing called student debt. So I don't think I'm gonna still be rich after college to, because I got to pay off student debt, man. Um, but even after college, I'm still gonna be active in the aquarium world. This is the amount of social interaction I get. I'm gonna be honest with you. Is the aquarium world. I live and breathe fish tanks. Um, 2 hours. And we still have 14 people in here. So I'll keep going. If I start seeing numbers going down, then we'll call it a day. But so far my mother has not even called me either. So I think I'm good. But at some point I have to leave. But I don't want to. I'm enjoying the conversations. This is hard. Live streaming is hard. Oh. Didi, many people feel that way. It looks free, but it's just added to the price prior to the sale. I worked at Doctors Foster and Smith for 6 years. I still have too much inside knowledge that is fleeting. Doctors Foster and Smith, are they still active? Live Aquaria, like I remember when I was getting into the saltwater world, I would visit Live Aquaria like very frequently, and I think Live Aquaria was owned by. I know Live Aquaria is still active, but it was owned by Doctors Foster and Smith. But that's interesting that you work there, Jeff. I did not know that. That's cool. But yeah, that's a good point though. I don't like doing that with my prices. But a lot of people do that when they offer free shipping. It's because they've added the pricing in accordance with, to offset the price of shipping. They've added it to the regular price of the product. So you're definitely right on the mark with there, Jeff. But I try not to do that. At least I hope. I'm not doing that. My phone's about to die, so I'm just gonna turn that off for now. Um, Osama, maybe a saltwater algae tank at the Clash as a table display could be an encouragement for people like me to see it and talk to you about it. Good idea. Definitely a good idea. Don't know I will be able to do it or not, because I have to take that home with me then and take care of it, which I'm not ready to for another tank, especially saltwater. Um, but yeah, if you guys are interested in saltwater or you need some advice or anything like that, just shoot me a text, shoot me an email, however way you can get in touch with me, and I'm happy to help you out. Didi, if you want, I can even make so I have a article section on the website, right? I can make an article on my experience and knowledge of how to set up an algae planet aquascape, and maybe that'll help you out a little bit. I'm happy to do that. Um, but yeah, yeah. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe I'll do it if you all want to see it. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was thinking of just shipping you overnight because you qualified for it, but the system that I use for shipping, like it was already set to the USPS one. So, but yeah, you're right. The weather was okay, and yeah, I just hate the fact that I have days that I ship and I don't follow even my own policy. So I ship Monday to Wednesday to make sure you guys get it on time that same week, hope usually. And I don't even do that because I get orders so rarely that when I even if I get an order on Thursday, I will pack it and ship it to you because I'm just excited and I want to get the stuff to you. And I think that's what happened with Didi was like I got the order in a little later in the week, and Didi didn't get it until Monday because technically you should have gotten it if it was earlier. You could have gotten it by Saturday, but it went it was sent out throughout the weekend, and she wasn't able to get it until Monday, and I was not comfortable with that, because they were just sitting in wherever during Sunday because USPS doesn't operate on Sundays. Um, Trying to make me blush. Get out of here with that. Thank you. I'm if you see a lot of the pictures I take, I don't smile because I don't like showing teeth and all that. It's usually like more of a noble like portrait type pose that I usually do for pictures. Um Rarely will I smile, but I appreciate it. Thank you. It's not the same, but wasn't it owned by Doctors Foster and Smith? I thought it was because I would see there would be a banner at the top of their website. But that's interesting. It's owned by an investment group that should tell you all you need to know. Oh, yeah. They've got some cool stuff on there. Actually, let's take a gander at it. Why not? Okay. All right, let me share my screen here. Give me a second. All right, hopefully you guys can see. Okay. Can you guys see it? Did I do it right? If I can get some confirmation before I move on. Okay, cool. Okay, so yeah, this is Live Aquaria. Okay, in case you guys weren't aware of them, they do both freshwater and saltwater. They've got Divers Den, which is basically like a featured version. Jeff, you're more than welcome to pitch in, talk about it if you'd like. If you're familiar with Live Aquaria, of course. But so like they've got Divers Den here, which got quite not usually. Yeah, well, they've got sections here: marine fish, freshwater, betas. Um, we look at freshwater. They've got it in groups of families. So they've got new freshwater fish. They've got for beginners. They've got that's new. When I used to frequent Live Aquaria, they did not have axolotls. Um, African cichlids, New World cichlids. They'll let you know if it was captive bred or not. Do not like balloon mollies. But yeah, and then they've got freshwater plants, even foreground, midground, background. Not a lot of variety. If you're in the industry, we're staying away from that for a while because of that zebra mussel scare that happened recently. I don't know if you guys remember that. But yeah, I personally cannot find that anymore. Like suppliers are not carrying that right now. And I think it also has to do with customs. Like they're not letting that stuff come into the US right now. We've got freshwater inverts. So we got a lot of your shrimp, we got blue glaze, we got red glaze, red King Kongs, orange bee, diamond, snowball. Starting at $31.99. Oh, it's a group. Okay. Yeah, so they're in groups. So that's why the prices are the way they are. Let me see what the comment section is like right now. Oh, they are, Didi? Okay. I haven't seen them that much. At least in like aquarium stores, like local fish stores and things like that. It is a pretty page, Didi. All things considered, their website is like really cool. I do like their website. It's easy to like to skim through it. And the pictures are really great. They're like good quality too. So got pond stuff. Where's the saltwater section? Oh, marine fish. Now the one thing that I really liked about Live Aquaria was for their marine fish selection, especially like they've got rays, they've got sharks, um, epaulets. They're obviously all out of stock. But if I would ever get a shark, it would be the epaulets. However, you know, I would not recommend unless you have a very large aquarium and you're an expert level aquarist in saltwater. Do not touch sharks or stingrays. Please don't. They're adorable. I agree, but don't touch them unless you have the ability to really care for them. They are an investment. Got your little puffers. You got your pipefish. They've got seahorses, Stephen. All captive bred. So yeah, like these are some good seahorses. We'll see. But I would recommend for seahorses, I would recommend Seahorse Savvy. Go away, cat. Got coral. Sea fans and gorgonians, new coral, beginner friendly corals. Let's check that. Why not? So you've got a lot of your leathers, mushrooms, Caspitularia corals, pulsing zinnias. Really beautiful stuff. Stuff I want to see at the Keystone Clash. Let's make it happen, people. Got marine inverts and plants. So here we might be able to see some macroalgae, maybe. I don't know. Yes, marine plants, algae. There we go. So yeah, red Graciliera feeding algae, dragon's tongue. That's an interesting one. This is actually, these two are very popular. These you can actually plant in the substrate. So you've got shaving brush plant or algae, which obviously looks like a shaving brush. Mermaid's fan. That's also a really cool one. Or mermaid's purse. Sometimes it's called a mermaid's purse as well. Almedia plant. That I think is water lettuce. No, it's not water lettuce. That's something else. That's a different scientific name. But yeah, you got red mangrove. I have mixed opinions about people keeping mangroves in their home aquaria. That's a tree, okay? So you're growing a tree in your house. So I personally would never, and it's one of the reasons why I don't even have mangroves on my website right now, is because I just don't recommend keeping it for your home aquaria. If you live in the tropical or warmer areas, Florida, all that places, and you have like a saltwater pond outside, by all means get a mangrove for that. But that's a tree you're growing in your house. So, I wouldn't recommend it. If you want a plant in your saltwater system, just get algae. That'll be perfectly fine. Yes, Didi, mermaids. You definitely want that plant. That'll do well for you. If you ever decide to do a saltwater planet tank, you might want to go for the mermaids fan. definitely. Let me try to go back up where I may have lost the thingy, but that's fine. Sorry, trying to catch up on trying to see where I left off on chat here. Okay. That's a good point. So Steven says, I got tired of mine and threw out all of my Murmo moss balls, or yeah, the moss balls. I think some of the ones I had were fake, some other kind of Cladophora. That's very true. Because keep in mind, moss balls are not moss. It's algae. It's literally an algae that they tumble, right? And it forms in the wild. It's in like fast flowing streams. I can't talk. Um, and it just tumbles. It's like the tumbleweed of the aquarium world. Um, and you can get that compact moss ball, right? But you know, they're so cheap and they're so readily available from everywhere that you don't really know what you're getting. And not only that, they're that is a true like nutrient sponge, and people think that they can just plop them in and just let them go. The amount of detritus that gets collected in these things, like if you don't clean them for a while or it starts to die off, you take it out of the tank, you take a whiff of it, and you'll start to dry heave. Like it is disgusting. Um, but yeah, like every time you do a water change, you need to like give that moss ball a squeeze or like give it a little brush or whatever to get the detritus out because that thing is a sponge. Um, but yeah, I still have my moss balls. Some are looking rugged, but still hanging in there. I don't know if you've seen like some people aquascapers I've seen, they'll take their moss balls apart and they'll cover their like rock structures with it, and it gives it like a nice smooth mossy look. Obviously, you have to maintain it that way, which I thought is what I think looks really cool. But I've seen people do that with their moss balls. Um, Flying Fish Express, never heard of that. I ordered live rock from them during the buyout before I knew it was happening. Interesting. All good, Atkins. No worries. I'm still here. Um, Happy to see you're back. But yeah, that's let's look at the you've got reef cleaner packs. Actually, let's go back. Nope, not there. Let's take a gander at their inverts. So cucumbers, really cool. Don't recommend them for beginners. Sea slugs, if you want to get a sea slug, I would recommend the green lettuce nudibranch, but only in established tanks. If it's a brand new tank, don't get them yet. Cephalopods, not beginner friendly. Don't touch them. Scallops and clams, you need a well-established tank with a lot of suspended foods. They are filter feeders. Urchins, you need a well-established tank for them. A lot of your beginner friendly inverts are what you would find in these like cleaner packs. So it's your hermit crabs, your snails, cleaner shrimp, skunk cleaner shrimps. They're great for that. Um, with hermit crabs, you just want to make sure you offer them, larger shells for them to move into. This is also new. Jellyfish. Okay, I have some experience with these guys. Did not know they were starting to carry jellyfish. So I have experience with these guys. Now it says expert only, which I kind of agree with. Um, so I kept upside down Cassiopeia species. I kept upside down jellies at university for a professor. She needed them for a lab, and she asked my club if we could set up a system for them. She'll order the jellyfish in, but she wanted us to take care of it for them. So we literally went online. We went to the Association for Zoos and Aquariums, and they have a manual for jellyfish husbandry. So we printed that out. We studied it, reviewed it. We set up a 20-gallon long tank, a regular square tank, with a fluval aqua clear, with a divider, a egg crate divider, and a heater, and we put a divider in front of it, just a little bit, and then we had a sand substrate, not too deep, and a light that had a good enough spectrum for corals. And that was our setup for these guys, and they did very well. The reason I specified with lighting spectrum for coral growth is because upside down jellies, the reason they're like that is because in their tentacles up here there is a symbiotic algae, a zooxanthellae algae, the same thing that you would find in a coral. Believe it or not, jellyfish are related to corals and sea anemones. They're in the same group of cnidarians. And the reason they're upside down is because they have that symbiotic relationship. The algae produces food for the jellyfish. And in order for the algae to make that food, they need to photosynthesize. How do they photosynthesize? They need light. So the jellyfish, through evolution, inverts itself and to expose its tentacles to the sunlight to allow the jellies to, or the zooxanthellae algae, to get that light. But they do swim like any other jellyfish, but then when they settle down, they look like that. And they're really adorable. I love them. I do plan on getting these guys for my home. I will be setting up a system for that, but not anytime soon. um but the only reason I'm getting them is because I have experience with them. I would not recommend you get jellyfish until you are comfortable with beginner level saltwater husbandry. And when you are good with that, then I would recommend either the upside down jellies, or if you want to get a free swimming jelly, the moon jellyfish, which are these guys right here, are perfect for that. But for these guys, you need a Cressel aquarium, which is like a round aquarium. If you guys have been to a public aquarium, you may have seen those tanks. They are readily available. I know there's a desktop version, as well. There's actually a company that modified the fluval spec and made it so that you can keep free swimming jellies in there. So, but I would not recommend, if you're brand spanking new to saltwater, I would not recommend getting jellies yet. But yeah, that's live aquaria for you. Let me stop screen sharing. Kind of catch up on. Yes, sea cucumber equals ticking ammonia bomb. That is correct. And there is a way for you to tell if your sea cucumber is about to hit the bucket, but sometimes you don't. And when the sea cucumber does hit the bucket, that happens. Ammonia bomb. It will crash your tank, and it's not going to be a good thing. So that's why unless you're really confident and really comfortable and you want a bit of a challenge, get the sea cucumber. Otherwise, don't bother with it. It's not going to benefit your tank in any way. It's not gonna disadvantage your system in any way. But if you're a seasoned saltwater hobbyist and you want to try out a sea cucumber, do so at your own risk. I am going to stay away from them. With the sea slugs, the nudibranchs, most I'm gonna do is probably get the lettuce nudibranch. That's as far as I'm going with that. I just want non-stinging stuff in my saltwater tank. Algae, macroalgae, because coral will sting. They are related. They have stinging cells. They're related to jellyfish. Some sting more than others, especially anemones. However, to us, it's not bad. But if you have sensitive skin, it will irritate you. So when you're handling corals, just wear gloves, aquarium safe gloves, and you should be fine. Um, Moon jellyfish and upside down jellies, rarely, if at all, sting. Upside down jellies recently was discovered that they do secrete a mucus that has the stinging cells in it. So that's why if you were ever swimming in the lagoons and bays, mangrove bays in Florida, and if you've noticed like upside down jellies and you were nowhere near them, but then all of a sudden you're like irritated, your skin's irritated or whatever, it's because they were secreting mucus that was in the water column and it just so happened to get in contact with you and you got stung by them basically, but it's nothing major. It's not like a box jellyfish where you're gonna die. It's nothing like that. Ctenophores like the comb jellies, expert only by the way, but they're not true jellies, but they have no stinging cells at all. That's why they're not in the cnidarian category, because they don't have a stinging, they don't have the nematocytes. um yeah, they're photosynthetic. Yep. I'm way ahead of you, Atkins. But I love the support. I love the backup. You know. Oh, oh, no, 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 no. I'm sorry, Jeff. I'm sorry. Salute to you, my brother. That's that's bad. Um, for those of you who are not familiar, bristleworms are a pest in the saltwater world, and they hurt if they get anywhere in contact with you, and they are huge. Like I hope you guys are not queasy, but I'm gonna show you what they look like because this is science, and science can be scary sometimes. Hang on. Jeff and Atkins are probably like, "Don't show it! Don't!" All right, y'all ready for some horror? Maybe not. Maybe you might not find it horrifying, but us saltwater people don't want to see it in our tank at all. Bang! There you go. If you see that in your tank, you first of all you want to take it out, and then you want to make sure you're wearing gloves while doing so. Um, they are. Ugh, no, thank you. No, thank you. But yeah, they are bad. Like they will. They hurt. They hurt. Yeah, that's why you dip your freaking corals, people. Quarantine, dip, whatever you need to do to mitigate it. Bobbit worms. Yeah, yeah. And that's how they get in your tank. I refer to dipping corals because they will lay eggs on like rocks and coral frags and all that stuff. And some of them you can barely even see. And like, look right here. That's what happens when you touch a bristle worm. You get that. And it's not good. Not good. Thankfully, I have not had experience with these, but I've seen enough to know the pain. And I've heard enough from other hobbyists and professional saltwater aquarists. Yeah. No, thank you. I'm getting rid of that. But yes. Yep. That's the mother. But I got some time, so don't worry. But yes, Stephen, hell to the nah. No, you do not want that. Now, I showed you that. Do not let that discourage you from keeping a saltwater tank. What I'm hoping that will encourage you to do is be careful in your quarantining. Okay? Quarantine, dip your corals if you're getting corals. Just do the extra step to make sure none of that gets in your tank. Okay? Because you can take it out, it's just you don't want to touch it. Um So, but yeah, they are a nuisance hitchhiker that you want to look out for. But yeah, as I get more into salt, it's not that it's not the scary stuff. But right now, I have acropora red bugs. Those are scary. Woo! Again, dipping, quarantining. Yeah, those guys are bad too. Yeah. But hey, man, you're doing acropora. You're getting up there in intermediate to advanced level stuff. Good for you. I'm a fan of uncurved live rock. Yes, yes. I cannot stress this enough, my dear fish fan people. Quarantine not even with saltwater, freshwater, just quarantine. Do the extra mile, especially with saltwater. It's an investment, right? You're spending a lot of money. The livestock for saltwater is not cheap. Um, and so just set up a small tank. Get a wave maker in there, get a heater, and just quarantine. Get a dipping solution. I recommend Coral RX. Sea Kim and Brightwells also has good dipping solutions. Get the actually, hang on a second. I'm gonna do a shameless plug here. Might as well get this while you're at it. So this is available at Atlantic Aquariums. I only have one here because I brought it to the Keystone class just to see if somebody will buy it. Nobody did, so I still have it. But this is a dipping container. All right, it's a pretty large container. It's 4 liters, which is about 136 ounces, and it's a dipping container. So you can it has a egg crate at the bottom. You put your coral mother colony or frag in there. It has a magnifying glass so you can look closer at it. It has a volume on the back, so it allows you to determine how much water is in there, and then you can kind of calculate how much um of dip you need to put in. I've seen people put in like a small water pump in there to kind of give some flow, because I know for Coral RX you do want to keep the water flow going. Um, but it's a really cool tool. It's by Simplicity Aquatics, and it's their newest product, and it's a really cool tool. If you're into saltwater and you keep corals and a lot of that stuff, I would strongly recommend getting this. It's a good tool to have, and this gives you bit of a better picture of what it's like, right? It has 10 times magnification glass lens, elevated at crate, has a 3-year protected limited warranty on it, right? Um, but yeah, cool stuff on Atlantic Aquariums if you're interested in it. Put that back. Okay, let's see. Oops, sorry, did not mean to hit that. So Jeff likes the micro bugs in the saltwater world. Hey man, you do you. Whatever makes you enjoy the hobby, I think. But not me. I've enjoyed seeing, but I have to go pull some shrimp and get ready to move them to their new and improved home. That's totally fine, Dee Dee. Sorry. Thank you for staying as long as you did. I really appreciate it. I'll see you. I'll see you again soon. They are. They really are. Um, I think it's a really cool. I think it's something that will definitely benefit anybody who's keeping corals. To have. Oh, don't worry, Dee Dee. Even if I do talk about it, it's going to be nice things. Okay, it's not going to be anything bad. Okay, I haven't known you long enough to have any negative comments about you. So one question. Whoop, sorry. One question: have you got any experience with red bugs? I'm tempted to just pull old acro and quarantine then for a few months. I personally have not because I haven't really worked with acropora that much. When the lab did start to get in acropora, I was no longer active because I took a leave of absence, so I couldn't work in the lab. But we did start getting in some acroporas. But I mean, we have a quarantine protocol set in place. You're not going to get everything, unfortunately. It is hard unless you really know what you're looking for. But I have heard experiences from regarding red bugs. So I mean, let's look them up. Why not? So that way, the people who have no stinking clue of what I'm talking about or what we're talking about, um, um, have an idea of what we're talking about. So Acropora red bugs. Okay, there we go. Okay, let me share my screen real quick. And then at some point I have to stop the stream because my mother just told me that our guests are on their way. So, but yeah, the next live stream, believe it or not, is going to be when I do order in plants to restock, and then we'll do like an unboxing. If you guys will enjoy that, I'll do that. But I am going to be posting like regular YouTube videos soon. I'm just working on it because I have a bunch of video concepts that I want to do. I'm just trying to find the time to do it. Anyway, so these are the red bugs. So let me pop that up. Pop that up. So they're like really tiny. So you would barely be able to see them. Yeah, Atkins, send them to Jeff. Apparently he likes them. Your acroporas won't like them, but hey man. Um but yeah, so these red bugs are a nuisance. They hitchhike onto acropora corals, and I'm trying to think of what can be used to get rid of them. I don't know if they're I don't know if there is an actual like invertebrate or something that eats them. Um, but yeah, if you look right here, acropora red bugs are a common pest in the aquarium hobby that can cause significant harm to acropora corals. These tiny pests are thought to be copepods and can easily take over and kill your acropora in a few weeks if left untreated. There you go. Yes, so if you have red bugs, at some point, if you do not so basically, Atkins, I would recommend, if you can, removing the corals and doing a dip treatment with them. There's a lot of instructions and videos and whatnot, and especially in the saltwater community, that you can do some research on before doing it. That way you're comfortable with it. But I would recommend doing that, get it treated, because if you don't, it will have negative impacts on your acropora. Um, but uh, what I've been reading is seeing only in tank treatment with interceptor, which is a dog dewormer. It'll kill all my inverts, which I don't want. That is why you want to take it out. Um, I'm not familiar with that treatment, so I'm not going to really tell you what you should do or if you should do that or not. It's basically, doing the research, reaching out to people who do know what they're doing. Um, but I would not treat your acropora in your main system. I would get them out. Set up a quarantine system, set up a quarantine tank, um, and treat them that way with whatever treatment you decide to do. Um, and also figure out how long you have to do, because if you're starting to see red bugs and you have the corals in your main tank, chances are they will be starting to spread. But these do seem to only be affecting your acropora. So if you whatever acropora you have, if you have the ability to take them out of your system and into a quarantine or treatment tank and treat them that way. But you do not want to leave them untreated, otherwise they're gonna wreak havoc on them. Yeah, yeah. So they are a yeah. So they do need the acropora. That's how they survive. They will only attack the acropora. Yep. Remove them from your tank. Set up a quarantine system for them and just treat them that way. That way, if you do decide to use that dog wormer, at least you're only going to affect the those bugs. Now keep in mind, coral are invertebrates. They're part of the invertebrate family or world of invertebrates. So you also want to make sure that if you're treating enough to kill the bugs, that it's not going to have any negative effects to your coral specifically. Because remember, you're using something that's designed for dogs, not necessarily for the aquarium world. Not saying that a lot of the medications we have in the aquarium world aren't derived from regular medications, but I would just do the research, just make sure you're comfortable with everything. If you need any help, you know, shoot me an email. We'll work it out. Um, but that's basically the only real thing you can do is just get them out, and then hopefully in the future, just quarantine before putting them in. And you shouldn't have that problem. Dogs in planaria. Okay, interesting. But yeah, so we've been almost over. As I read up, I can't even get the medicine without a prescription. Yeah, if it's a dog dewormer, then yeah, you're gonna probably need to go see a vet for that. Is that the only thing you've seen so far in terms of treatment? You haven't seen anything else that can treat it? Like I said, I don't have that much experience with them. That's why I haven't really read up much on them. I should, to be honest with you, but um my question would be is that the only thing that will work? Um because to be fair, if you need a prescription, then um so Jeff says Atkins pen oh sorry, stop hitting the table. Atkins says Pencure C? Question mark? What is Pencure C? I'm gonna look up that too. Okay, so it is a dog dewormer, but is it? I think it's probably something that is over the shelf, Jeff. Or do you still need a or do you still need a prescription from it? Because from I just googled it and apparently it's available at Walmart. So I don't know if you can just grab it or yeah, I think it's a matter of if you look at what the active ingredients in Interceptor are and versus like Pencure C, if it's the same thing, you might be because it's a dog dewormer. Both of them are just different brands, I guess. So yeah, okay. So Jeff says it's over the shelf. So Atkins, that's maybe something you can look into. Pencure C. Maybe reach out to other saltwater hobbyists and ask them if maybe if they've used Pencure C for that. Because I mean the interceptor, unless you have a dog of your own and your dog has worms, um, I don't really see the point in going to a vet and be like, "Hey, I've got bugs on my acropora coral. Can I get a dog dewormer?" What? Um, but if you can find a dog dewormer that would work, that's the same active ingredients or similar to interceptor, and it's over the counter, maybe you might want to check that out. See, we're solving problems here. I like it. Solving problems through science. Uh, who needs veterinarians when you've got us, right? Or for aquariums, I mean. But no, we need veterinarians. So yeah, so unless y'all have anything else do you want to ask or talk about or discuss, um, I have no dog. Yeah, I don't know how I would go about it. I got a goofy sticks with red bugs. I need a dewormer. Yeah. Yeah. Unless you have a vet who has worked with fish or a vet who has worked in like a public aquarium setting. Certain aquaculture facilities have veterinarians, right? It's just hard. It's just gonna be very weird and awkward for you to go to any veterinarian and be like, "Hey man, I've got some corals that got red bugs on them. Can I get a dewormer for that?" I don't think it would really work out that way. Um, but yeah, because I mean, you try that Pencare see, and but first do your research. Ask around, see if it'll work, see if it's the same active ingredients as Interceptor. And then try 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 with one coral. Try it like with one stick or one frag. If you have frags, I would try with one just to be on the safe side. Um, because the last thing you want is to put all of them in there and either nothing happens or you end up nuking your entire collection of Acropora because those guys are not cheap. Um, so Jeff says I haven't used it in salt water, but I use it for planaria for freshwater. Yeah, 10 bag, 10 pound dog size, 10 ounce water per package. Um, 1 ounce per 10-gallon treatment, 3 to 4 days of treatment. Okay. Yes, Steven, water changes. I recommend it. Sorry you have to leave though, but thank you for stopping by, man. I'll see you around. Enjoy water changes. But yeah, no, but that's interesting. So that's your treatment for planaria. So, but that's for planaria. That's not for Acropora red bugs. So I would still look into it first. Um, and then see how that goes. That's good to know, Jeff, for planaria because I know for freshwater at least, I haven't had issues. Think I haven't had issues with planaria. I do see some little like tiny little wiggly thingies in this tank from time to time, but no planaria. I think, thankfully, knock on wood. So Jeff, for the 3 to 4 day treatment, you're not changing the water at all, right? Planaria, the unkillable worm. Okay. So per package, you would put it 3 to 4 days, and then the last treatment, you'll do the water change, and basically, I'm assuming just getting the medication out of the water system. Good to know, because I know for certain medications that have multiple day treatments, you don't want to change um, water change until towards the end of the treatment. Usually just follow the directions on the package, and I'm talking about like the regular um, Praziquantel or erythromycin or whatever that we use in the aquarium tray. Just follow the directions for that. That's what I do, and I've had okay success with it. Thankfully, I haven't had to use medication a lot. Most of my fish have been in my care. Knock on wood again. I've been doing okay. I had to use medication once, and it was the It was a plant-based medication from Canada that King of DIY used, and I was selling it on my website, but it did not sell, and so I took it down. But I did use a bottle of it. Do I still have that? I do have it right here. So this is what I used, the Supertech Aquarium. So I had this on the website, but I didn't sell any of it, and it expired. So and I tried reaching out to the company, and they weren't really responding back. So decided to take it down. It's a good product. I used it because I had zebra danios in this tank, and one of the zebra danios somehow got into the hang on back filter, and I took him out, and he had some fin damage and whatnot, and I did not want there to be any infections or anything like that. So I added about, I believe it's a tablespoon per 10 gallons. Yep. Excuse me, 1 teaspoon of 10 gallons. So I did 1 teaspoon, and you can put it directly into the tank. It is fine with plants and invertebrates. And within days, and I cranked up the heater a little bit just to keep it a little bit warmer. And the zebra dania was perfectly fine. No infections. The wounds healed up perfectly fine. So it worked, I think. Um, oh boy, my brother just joined. Hi Hamza. That's my brother, y'all. But yeah, so yeah, it's a great product. I recommend checking it out. I don't have it on the website anymore because the stuff I had expired, and it just did not sell. So I'm not gonna. Maybe I'll have it again in the future, but for now it's not gonna be on the website. But you can find it if you just Google Super Tech Aquarium. You should be able to find it if you want it or you want to try it out. All right, guys. I just heard the bell ring, so that means I have to leave. Again, thank you very much for stopping by. It was a great 3 hour live stream. I enjoyed it immensely. We got to discuss a lot of things, got to do some troubleshooting, which I enjoyed, talk a little bit of science. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Um, and just look forward to what's coming up in the new year. A lot of changes are coming up. And again, if you've been supporting Atlantic Aquariums and whatnot, I really appreciate it. Um, and I will hopefully see you guys around. Stay tuned for more videos to come, and for the next live stream, hopefully is going to be a plant unboxing when I do order more plants. And I don't know how soon that will be, um, but we'll see. So again, I do appreciate it. I hope you guys have a wonderful New Year. Stay safe out there. If you're gonna drink, I don't drink. I don't condone drinking alcohol, but if you are gonna drink, drink responsibly. Don't drive while you're woohoo. Um, and just enjoy the evening. All right. I'll see you guys. I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Happy fish keeping.